Happy Friday. That should take you back, Karen, if you remember where I got that from. Oh my goodness, happy Friday to every person out there. It is so lovely to spend my Friday with two of my best friends. I'll tell you more about them later. But
Wait. Before you get into this, who said my best friend can have a best friend? See, I'm just leaving right now. You can do the show with your new best friend.
That's
With
not
your
a
new best friend. Go ahead then. I don't no need for me then. I'm out of here. Your new best friend of 2 days versus 20 years. Go
minute.
on and do your best friend.
I wasn't expecting this.
Something.
This is the main one, Karen, who has always had another friend. And I'd be like, you are only allowed one. And then he added another one about 17 years later. I said, who is this? Louis. And then he always be like, oh, my brother, my sister, my child, my infant. I'm like, you are not allowed to have other family members.
My infants. What? You know, infant. Yeah, we do have one that's also trying to be B3. But anyhow, I was just teasing. Go ahead and do your introduction. I was just teasing because you know how people get new best friends to get brand new, okay? On the show with their best friend. Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone, happy Best Friend Friday. Hello, every beautiful body out there. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Blair G. Hervey. I am the founder and CEO of The Corporate Strategist. As you can see, I'm joined by my colorful co-host, my bestie, and my soul friend, which I only have one of those, of 20 years, DeAngelo Crane. Please say hello.
Happy Friday, all you wonderful people out here. This is the Diversity Geek here again to cause some shenanigans as I always do. So I'm excited about. I'm still working on this tagline. I'm gonna get it together. Right now, I'm here to cause shenanigans, but good shenanigans. But Blair, I'm excited to be here again with you on this Friday, and along with your other best friend.
Well, she just got that title today. She just heard that. So we'll just have a big welcome to our guest, Karen D. Foster. We're excited to have you, as you can see.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Welcome. And welcome to, again, everyone out there to the Black DEIBA Collective Live. D, we always start off the day with a sunny introduction, but can you get us started with our sunny segment?
You already know this. Every day here on the Black DEIBA Collective, we ask people a deeper question with the art of the check-in. And why we call it the art of the check-in? Because we're asking leaders to do this each and every day, to take a moment to go deeper with their employees, with their colleagues, with their friends, with their family members, and not just leave it at the surface question. So we take a moment. You know, Blair just said, how are you doing? But I want to ask, how's your soul? How's your mind? How's your heart today, Karen?
Oh, good. Today's my brother's birthday. Happy birthday, Kevin, aka Big. So I'm very happy about that. And sun is out here in Portland. It's been I've had a good week, busy week, but good. So yeah, everything is good with me. Everything is great. Let me say great, because I know I say good to Blair a lot. Everything is great.
I was so excited to meet your brother because I was like, oh my goodness, how now I know 5 Black people in Portland.
You met my cousin.
Okay. Well, as Blair has been having some of her friends on the show, I know more now, maybe 10 Black people in Portland, but it's great. It's awesome. Okay. Blair, how's your soul? How's your mind? How's your heart? And how's your hair today?
My hair is great. I mean, this is my favorite look with this these braids. I did not do anything to these edges, but I feel like from this distance, that's okay. It's giving natural. It's giving, I love to see my face, just quite frankly. But I'm doing great. I'm excited. It's Mother's Day weekend. I get to spend it with my son. I'm gonna go visit my mother's grave. I have not been there in a very long time. I'm actually excited about that. And then I see you on Monday, so we get to do like a part 2 of Mother's Day, and hopefully we can link up and talk and do what we do. How are you feeling, love?
I am fantastic. I'm really good today. It's going to be definitely a good weekend. Like you said, Mother's Day. I'll have to tell you the other highlight of my week. I don't know if I told you this. So I'm a political geek. You know this, right? And one day this week, I was at a space and this person walked to me and I was like, who is this person? And it was Raphael Warnock, who is the senator from Georgia, who is the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a pastor. Just an amazing man. He was so calm, nice, welcoming, gave me a handshake and all that jazz. So that was one of the highlights of my week. So I'm like, if that was a pinnacle, and the week, not even a pinnacle, the week has just been keep going up. So I'm in the good spirits, and it's going to be a great weekend as well. And like you said, I get to see you on Monday, but we're going to be in the same room. We got to figure out a studio situation by Tuesday so we can be together or not. We'll figure it out when you get here.
I love it. Well, I'm super, super excited. Excited for that and excited for today's conversation. For anyone who is not familiar with my friend Karen, she has a wonderful company called KF Curates. It's actually an event strategy, execution, and consulting agency for in-person and virtual events. She helps businesses and organizations produce diverse, inclusive, and equitable events to cultivate meaningful experiences that lead to transformational change while impacting communities and corporate spaces. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this beautiful smile in tons of different spaces. She's created events for women supporting women, PDX women of color, the Brunchnista, and she's created events of her own, like Stop Asking, Start Doing, where she has created space for white women to actually educate other white women on allyship. She most recently created a series called Women in the Room, which I can't wait to see that continue on. And we have co-hosted the infamous 2020 Ain't Canceled. Thank you for joining us, KF Curates and Karen DeAngelo.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I am excited as well. Now, I know a little bit about your story, right? From just the 5 years that we've gotten the opportunity to grow close, and I made you and elbowed you into friendship. But tell the people out there a little bit more about why you launched your own company and what was that pivotal moment that really brought you into this space?
Yeah, so I've always been like working behind the scenes, helping people with events, and that's always been a part of most of the jobs I've had, and then also stuff I've done in the community, with my church, things like that. And, as time went on, I just noticed like a lot of the vendors, a lot of the speakers aren't really speaking to people that look like me. Most of the vendors and the caterers, all of them are the same ones that we're using. Maybe they're the most popular in that area or whatever, but we weren't making space for other people, other businesses, other voices. And so during 2020, when we did 2020 Ain't Canceled, that was a great space to really make space for Black women and center Black women. But through that, I started getting other opportunities to help cultivate change and help them to see that they need to be more diverse. There needs to be more representation, but not only in who's there, but again, in who the vendors they're using. And so I never saw myself really as an entrepreneur, but I'm also a caregiver to my father. And so as 2020, or I should say COVID-19 was moving forward, we had to get back into the office, things like that. My situation wasn't really in a space to allow for me to be into anyone's office full time. And KF Curates, with the push from my friends like Blair and others, it was doing really well. So why not? Why not launch this as a business and let's go, let's do it. And so I have been doing it ever since.
I love it. I'm so proud of you. I love hearing that. And side note, this summer makeup is just giving everything. It's giving a look. But that was one of the things that was really important for a lot of the things that we did, particularly during 2020 Ain't Canceled. We told them to bring a look, forget the Zoom shirt. And so I love that you're staying on brand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen, you talked a little bit about your journey, your transition during 2020 and after that around needing to create your own space. Can you talk a little deeper about that journey and what made you leap out there? When you're talking to other entrepreneurs who are trying to figure out how do they turn their passion into their peace, into their profit, right? How do you move from passion to profit? How was that journey for you? What were some challenges and how did you get over those initial challenges?
Yeah, so actually, all of my business that I've had has been because of word of mouth. So people have either experienced what I've done, and most of these people are people that I have not met in person. And so because of that, I was able to really start doing events, really start working with other organizations, really start working with different corporations. And so the transition, I feel like I just kind of jumped into it. I was kind of forced because the opportunities were there. But then at the same time, it was aligned with what I needed, right? And if anyone is a caregiver, you know that it takes up a lot of your time and you're not always able. Sometimes you feel like you're making a choice between your career and caring for someone. And it was always like my prayer that I just wanted to be able to do both. And so when this opened up, as well as I've always wanted to add impact, make change. I've always known that my role sometimes is behind the scenes of planting seeds of change. And so this all worked in perfect alignment. But again, like it is people that have been saying my name in rooms I've yet to enter that have given me the opportunity to be able to launch this business and to get these opportunities to make change and for people to see that we need to have more of this. It can't be, you know, there's other event planners, there's other people whose voices need to be added to this, as well as people who are going to speak up for other voices that aren't in the room. So I'm always like, you know, one of the things that I try to do with all of my clients is look at the vendor list of the venue, of who's there, who's on it, and vet that list. And if there's not Black women or Black people on that list, how do I get them to get an opportunity to become vendors? And so it just really was, I've always been a connector. I always wanted to make change, and I've always wanted to connect people. And this is a great way for me to be able to do that, as well as add impact to others as they join these different events and things at their jobs and everything like that.
That's great. That's awesome.
And she's truly an advocate of others. I mean, I've definitely benefited and paid her for her speaking my name in places and ensuring that, you know, speakers like myself are represented in that room, and several others. I've seen it happen. So thank you for that. So I went to an event last night and I had a great time. It was something I've never been to before. It was over 600 people in a historic space. There was lots of great food and lots of different people represented. I saw us peppered throughout that environment as well. Although we were in a neighborhood that it looked completely Black. I'll just throw that out there. I was like, y'all at the park grilling? And yes, DeAngelo was more than 10 people, more than 10 Black people. So when I was in that particular space, I also saw more people donating large sums of money that I have never seen before. But a lot of the paddles that were going up were of people who were white. They were not of color. And when there were opportunities for bidding to happen, the Black folks may get involved, but then decline because of these higher amounts. So my question to you is, when you're in these event spaces, you have an opportunity to do, like you said, either observe the vendor list, observe the experience. What's maybe one or two tactical or tangible things you start suggesting to these organizations to make sure that equity is centered?
Right. So, well, with paddle raising and all of that, it is really, a lot of times I do think that people may not be raising their paddles because the organization may not be serving Black students specifically. So there may be other organizations that they're giving their money to and donating their money to. And I think in opportunities or in situations like that, it's great to learn more about the organization, but figure out how can we get more, you know, if it's, you know, to help children or to help houselessness or different communities of color, how do we make sure that the organization sees that we see that we're being served if we are donating and raising funds for that. So I think really looking into that is one way. I think another is also, you know, making sure we're invited. You know, when we have sponsorship tables and things like that, people tend to bring, you know, the executives, the leaders, and it becomes more of a social gathering. So I've asked, you know, with one of my clients before to like, hey, look at the people who bought tables and ask them who they're bringing. Do they look like me? Do they look like, you know, are they people of color, or is it just going to be an all white table with money, you know, and asking them to do that? Because sometimes we can't raise our paddle, we can't donate, we can't do them because we're not in the room at the event. We might be on stage telling a trauma story, or we might be asked on the sidelines, but we need to be at the events and invited to the table to do those things so that we can, you know, add to that.
Truly. Thank you.
No, that's great. You said something, a lot of things that trigger me. When you think about, you gave us several examples, but how does an event planner say, let me be in on the beginning stages of helping you format your objectives for this event and what you want to get out of it? And I'm not just here for logistics. I'm also here to make sure that to create, like you said, an experience. And part of that is helping you navigate who's going to be speaking, who's going to be in the room, and what type of energy and space and welcoming environment you want to create. Because oftentimes, how many times have you went to nonprofit events, right? And they are many times, having been on the board before in Louisville, Kentucky, I noticed that when I looked around, many of the people on the board were rich white women, right? And they had me on the board to figure out how do we cultivate different people to come in, younger people of diverse backgrounds to come in and give to the organization, right? So how do the event planners get in on that conversation and help organizations navigate that, or corporations navigate that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think one of the ways is in my first meeting, just asking more about what are the previous events like, and then really calling in the areas of change. Most organizations really want to be inclusive, really want to be diverse, want to be equitable, want to serve all of these things. But I think doing my research before and then coming in with, this is what I've seen, what are we doing? How does it look any different than now? And then also stressing that, more than logistics, because even within the logistics, I'm still about to ask about a vendor, and I'm going to seek out another vendor to use and bring these options to them. But I think calling in their mission statement, most of them have mission statements around what they want to do. And I think these are opportunities in a meeting where we can talk about that. Like, I know you want to have this great gala. I know you want to have this great conference, this great whatever. But here's some of the points that we need to hit on for this to truly be inclusive and equitable and all of these things. And usually in that conversation, especially if you have receipts, they want to make the change. So they just need someone else to help lead it and then give them a plan so that they can continue to do it after. Whether it's not hire me, but like, here are the things that you need to keep looking at every time you have an event, every time you bring people together. These are the points that you need to hit. So.
Right. Yeah, when you think about points you need to hit, because we love a good event, honey. Whatever it is, it becomes an event, whether it's a Dean Crane event in his living room and he has invited all of the good Judies. I really love that. That was great. Or whether it's, going to also a Dean Crane event, but a birthday party where it's a weekend extravaganza like Oprah and we get dressed. Or it's a virtual event where we're recommending that they bring a look and then there's music and there's a run of show. Talk to us about, overcoming those experiences where you're trying to bring in things that are, fun, hip, trendy, exciting, and will truly make even a virtual event stand out, and you're getting that pushback. How do you overcome that?
Ooh.
Particularly in the Portland area.
Yeah, no. So far, most of my suggestions and people I've brought in have been wonderful, been great, and have been accepted and appreciated. Mm-hmm. And we've moved forward. In the events that we haven't moved forward with different people, I've gone back to their mission statement. I've gone back to I'm going to take y'all back to the 90s. I'm sorry.
Not with the look, DeAngelo was like, is that a ringing phone?
But reminding them of that, but then also educating them. This is also an opportunity to remind them about equity, about diversity, because the reality is when we're talking about equity, we're saying that we're trying to get people in the room who normally aren't. So all of the greats and everything, they've had opportunity after opportunity to be as great as they are. If I'm new, even as an event planner, but I'm not even in the race, how can I get to the finish? Can't even get in the race and get the opportunity. So reminding them of that, reminding them that, we need to take a chance on others so that we can create space for more voices, for more people, so that they can be like some of the main people that we talk about, whether it's your MCs, all of that, like really looking at other people, but then also giving them the tools they need to be successful. So if we're talking about a panel, for an example, one of the things, I'm always going to have a speakers call. We're going to go over the questions. I like details and all of that, and making sure that everyone meets each other, because I think when you meet each other, you get a little bit more comfortable. But I also think it helps you let your guard down, but it also gives you space to learn and grow. If I'm someone who has not been on a panel and you're someone who's very, very comfortable being on a panel, I could feel intimidated, especially if I'm Black and it's an all white panel and things like that. But if we have a speakers call, go over the questions, the goals, the outcomes, I think it puts everyone at the same starting point to deliver what we need to for that panel.
Karen, you're absolutely right. I can think of a speaker's call that I hopped on, and it was primarily white, and honey, they was just talking. And I was just like, I guess this is going to be, because they knew each other. Mm-hmm. I guess this is going to be how it is. And I actually declined. I gave them some feedback and I said, you know what, this seems like this is going to be a space that's primarily supporting you all and for your audience. I don't think that I would be a great fit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Karen, I'm going to ask you, I have two questions in mind. So I'm going to ask both of them and you can answer even one you want to, right? So one question is that I love the sisterhood between you and Blair. And I think like recently, I remember there's a friend of mine here in the city who's getting their catering business started. And so we gave them a referral and they didn't have chafing dishes. And that's very important to me. And so another friend of theirs who is a caterer allowed them to borrow their chafing dishes, right? And so my question is, what should, how can, what are the things, or maybe one or two practical things that other event planners should be doing to help other event planners, other people in this event space? Is really what I'm trying to get to. When I think about how do we, because oftentimes when you think about many people who are starting in this industry, it's their first time starting out, they may not have everything that's needed, and they're looking for resources. And you're saying, come and do a 600 person event, and they're like, I don't know where to start at with a 600 person event. So what are some things they can be doing to help them book those larger events? Or what should other event planners be doing to help them, or event people that work in the hospitality field?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. I think one, when you're getting the proposal, give them exactly what they need. If it's, a plated dinner, if it's, and their style is like buffet, make sure you tell them, hey, we need it to be plated. So the proposal needs to reflect that. Remind them about like staff. Do you have staff? Do you have a liquor license? Like, do you have all of these things? Because you need to include that and really walk them through the process of whatever it is. If it's your event that you want it to be, or walk them through, the event planner should walk the vendor through the process of what the client is actually asking, and then making sure that they could deliver on that. Now, know that someone who hasn't done a 600, person event or dinner, you have to also know, is this the right time for them to do that? Are there any other opportunities that you could give them so that they could work their way to that? Because a 600 person event ain't easy it's not easy for any of us. Like it's a big thing. And there's a lot of people, to make happy. So making sure that it is an alignment. Also, let's say they need staff. So, there's organizations like the wait staff where they can hire people so that they can present as if they have the 40 people, but at least they have a contact on where they could get staffing from. Again, speaking for catering needs. And then the other thing is, I would say for any other parts of it, is just really letting them know exactly what they need. Sometimes we need all the steps, and sometimes we only have steps 1, 2, and 3, and we're missing 4, and 4 is the key thing that could get us in the door. But really giving them all of that, but also knowing, is this the right time for them to do this particular thing? If it is not, is there something else that you can put them in or help them get so that they can be ready for this event in the future?
Yeah, and don't be afraid to reach out to your community. I know there's an hospitality event planners group in Louisville for Black event planners, and they share things in there. Just, this person have this, do you have this one? And they get together and work together and just share when they need support, so they can see more than one person can do an event, right? Or more than one caterer. You may say we're an umbrella, but we're 2 caterers are going to get together and serve this event as well. So thank you for those tidbits.
That's really good. When I think about that too, that's a great opportunity for us to gain larger contracts. Dee, I can't remember who we spoke to because it's been so many guests at this point, but we spoke to over the last couple of weeks, and this person suggested collaborating with other DEI practitioners on larger contracts and kind of, piecing it out. That's a great way to do that. It's also a great way to serve. Karen and we've talked about this one idea probably for the past 2 years in serving Black women, particularly in speaking, that we need to get up and running. But it's definitely a great way to collaborate and give the people what they need. Yeah. Going to my question, you are, and you should put this tagline somewhere. I won't even charge you for it. You are the run of show queen, the queen of the run of show. And I say that because when we did 2028 Cancel, which was really historic at the time, because it was a weekly show that had anywhere between 1 to 300 people on every single week with a brand new speaker. You created the details and the step-by-step logistics that we needed for a weekly show. Because if y'all know me, I used to be the queen winging it. Now I'd be like, let's just get on. All of that. But you made it really important to have, like you said, the speaker's call for us to rehearse in advance. And we would rehearse. You remember our first rehearsal was 4 hours long?
Yeah.
And so, DeAngelo, when we're talking about doing this daily,
that's why he looked at
it was. We had to make sure our tempo was on place because it was 3 of us at the time. We had to make sure our questions were on point. We had to know how to, get the talent together. Anyway, I say all that to say, with that, you took some of those details. I did too, but you took that run of show into other events.
Right.
And you even helped some other folks.
I did.
And they went on with that run of show, right? And they did great things with their events. Yeah. My question to you is, especially when we're thinking about equity, and that is gold. I told you that a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. How do we protect our intellect? How do you protect your intellectual property when it comes to your ideas and for these organizations? Or are you just giving it away?
Ooh. So that is something I would think that I need to do much better at. I do think in some cases I'm giving people the blueprint, even though they're, they may pay me for it, but, I'm giving them the template, the outline of what they need to do for the run of show. I still think that for some of the events that I do, I still think that I'm the sauce. So they're giving them the template. It's still missing a little something because I'm not there. But so I would say that I need to maybe trademark and do different things like that. And I have not gotten that far. There are things that I do feel like I am gifting people with so that they can continue, especially if I believe in what they do. I want them to be great. I want them to do well. And so I am giving them essentially what they need to continue doing the greatness that they're destined to do.
Russell Simmons has this book that I still talk about to this day, even though Trump wrote the foreword or the preface or the intro, whatever. I know, but the book is really good. It's called Do You. And in that book, he gives one of those tips and he says, part of, getting to the top or getting to that next level is giving your best shit away for free. So I still follow some of that to this day, but thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think we have fun questions, but I do want to know really quickly here, the other part of my question, what can allies do to support Black curators and Black experience curators? What's one thing they should be doing?
One thing that they could be doing is at all of so every company has a vendor supplier list. They have a planning committee, all of those things before they do an event. They need to vet every vendor that they've used and take inventory on how many times we're using the same vendor, the same caterer, the same, speakers, all of those things, and put them on a list that you cannot use them for a while because you've been using them. So how do we keep making space, right? And challenge them to do that. Also, adding new vendors, my second part of that would be, always have a business ready to suggest, but also ask about what is the process? What do I need to tell, if Blair's going to be a speaker, what do I need to tell Blair so that she can be a vendor and be selected for future opportunities? What does she need to do? And then get that and then follow up with an email and CC both the person in charge and Blair or the person you're connecting, and then let them take it from there. What I have found in that follow-up email is now nobody is off the hook because it's in writing now. And I'm going to mention the conversation we just had when I left, about this new vendor that we need to look into.
That's well said. I love that. Well, yes, we do have some fun questions. Okay. I have just one quick question. One last quick question. One last one. If you could tell the folks out there how to make an impact with their event, what is one way to measure impact? Just one more quickly.
Who's there? Who's in the room? Who's there? Who's in the room? Who's staying? Who's coming back? And look at who's coming back. If everyone that's coming back only looks like you or doesn't look like me, you're doing something wrong. There's a reason people aren't coming back, even if it's at their own company.
Love it. Love it. All right, rapid fire questions. Do you have a couple, D?
Yeah, I have one. What would people remember most about an event, either the food or the entertainment?
Ooh, food.
That's a good one. The Vancouver Portland edition. Favorite coffee shop?
Ooh, Vancouver Portland. Deadstock.
Okay. Do you have another one, D?
I don't.
Yeah. And favorite donut place? Vancouver Portland edition.
Ooh. So I just had an event on Wednesday with WSW, and Mata had the best donuts that I've had in my life, and they just launched. So
take me there. Excellent.
Hey, Karen, which HBCU did you go to?
Oakwood University.
Oakwood. Where's Oakwood at?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, Huntsville, Alabama. Come on, Huntsville, Alabama.
Thank you so much, Karen. This was fun as always. You dropped some great information, business as usual. Dee, do you have a shout out for us real quick or no?
No, I was trying to get myself ready for it. No, go for it.
That's okay. We shouted out plenty of Black businesses as well. So if you're in the Portland, Oregon area, make sure that you visit Dead Stock Coffee, go to Mata, sounds like for donuts, as well as, just make sure that you're hiring KF Curates for your next event for sure. And Dean Crane Events, even though he would hate
no, should you go? Don't say that. Do not. That's retired. Dean Crane Events is retired. Don't even shut that out. Don't even do.
Thank you again for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us every single weekday. We are into our second month. We appreciate your support every single day at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for your daily dose of D&B with D&B. Thank you from the Black DEIBA Collective. Y'all have a great day.